It's a beautiful Thursday night, and on today's episode of Above Atlas, your daily adjustment to your thinking so you can have your relationships and career in more powerful alignment than it was before, is the concept of relationship limbo. I'm walking around the street just after a long day of work because lots of sitting in the work that I do, so getting up and moving around, and all of a sudden, of course, I come up with this idea, so I have to walk around with this I don't have to, but I choose to walk around with this little contraption, this little device, and walk around and have my neighbors assume that I'm a complete narcissist talking to myself on the phone, or I just want to look at myself or hear myself, which, they wouldn't be absolutely wrong, and they're not completely incorrect about that. But anyway, relationship limbo is something that I coined, a term that I coined, like transitional anxiety, and it's characterized by you're either divorced or separated, or you've just had a breakup, or there was a partner that's passed away, and you're kind of in that in-between, should I stay or should I go, and your relationship doesn't feel like it's in alignment. You don't know where you want to go. And so that stuff is way more common than you think. And being a divorced guy who now gets all of the stuff he did and didn't do that contributed to the divorce, it puts me in a very interesting situation as a emotions expert, and stress and wellness lifestyle expert, and having personally gone through a divorce. Relationship limbo is something that now I've been able to specialize in helping people who are in that in-between and want to get more powerfully aligned in their relationships. So one thing I've learned from every single person who's inquired or reached out to me to have a conversation and see what they could do. If should I stay, should I go? I don't know, I can't be in this limbo any longer. One of the things they all have in common is they have a laundry list of complaints. I go, okay, so what's going on? So you can imagine it's kind of like being a divorce lawyer or a marital counselor, where you're sitting there and both people are just belting off their own version of the story. And so what I do is very different. I'm not a marital counselor, nor do I tell people that I'm here to pretend like I can save your marriage. That's not my job. What I've observed after going through divorce, going through major commitment issues, fear of monogamy, all of that stuff, in recovery from it, been in a 2-year relationship now, and I've discovered a few things that we can that if we just did these few shifts, these little twists or perceptions or twists of our way of being, or changes in who we are being, then you can actually have a relationship that is in alignment with what your highest values are. And it's possible. But the problem that's blocking you, unfortunately, from the patterns that I see, is that you're probably running a story of, well, that person did this, and then they have this kind of a past, and they have an abusive past. I say, okay, so tell me what's it like for you? What does that make you feel like? And then they go back into, well, he has so-and-so, and no matter what, he's so mean, and he's so this, and he's so that. And then I go, okay, great, I get it. So what does that bring up for you? What does that trigger within you? What incompletes does that kind of bring up for you? And then back to, no, you just don't understand. I try this, and then he does that, or she just gets this. And finally, if I'm ballsy enough, or if I know that I want to work with this, but if I don't want to work with that person, I'll just say, all right, cool. Maybe you should see a counselor who wants to support you in your side. My job is actually getting you, whether you're with that person or not, there are a few changes that you need to make if you want to create an incredible relationship with or without that person. Because either way, you can't avoid the work. So you might as well use this as your training ground for the perfect relationship, because what you're called on to do is to create one. And you create one with doing your own introspective work. Now, does that absolve them of their responsibility of doing their own personal development work to really see what's coming up for them and how they contributed to? No, it doesn't absolve them of any responsibility. But since you're the one complaining, and since you're the one that wants change, and you're the one that's reaching out to me, I have questions about you, what this brings up for you, what that what that triggers within you, what you make all of these stories, and the fact that they're late, or the fact that they have, fantasies about the opposite sex, or whatever it is that you're confronted by in them. What's that bringing up for you? How does that make you feel? What are you making that mean about you regardless? Yeah, I get that they're alcoholics. I get that they've had affairs. I get that this, and you're really angry, and they hurt you. I get it. I totally get it. But the question is, what does that bring up for you? What is that bringing up in you? What feelings? What are you making that mean? Because if you're calling to have a solution to this problem, but you want to completely devoid yourself of any responsibility of the contribution of what it took, your share of it getting there, that's on you. And that's got nothing to do with her or him. And so this relationship limbo, what I found is when I've taken clients who have been completely in a space where they are ready to divorce. One guy, he basically got kicked out by his wife because we're done. She's my ex. He would call her my ex. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, dude. Take it easy before you start throwing these labels. Let's get to work on your shit. Forget her. Forget her. Let's talk about you. What's going on with you? And just by chipping away at the work, you get back into your power. You show up a different version of yourself, the version that they've always wanted. And lo and behold, you save your marriage or your relationship. And it's interesting because I wish that I had somebody like myself to push me through my bullshit stories. Because if I did, I would have had the tools and the know-how to be able to actually create a better relationship than the one that I currently had. And I wouldn't have wasted years of my life. I don't call it waste. I had a great time. I had a freaking phenomenal time, and I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't have spent so much time feeling frustrated. I would have been more grateful for the journey that I had, and I would have had the tools to be able to create the kind of relationship that I want through breakdowns, because a good relationship will have them, because there's always disagreements and arguments, but it's really learning the art of communication and being in your space and in your power to be able to shorten the time span of suffering from the arguments. That's what it's all about. So if you're in relationship limbo and you want to tell your little sob story, your little victim story, look inside, share in the comments section, reach out if you have any questions. I would love to be of service. If you're ready to take it on, take on the responsibility, I'm here for you. Peace out.